What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. I will say for the record, I've recorded this episode 3 different times, and my connection has been a little off the charts. So, you guys are getting an abridged version today. I'm not giving you the full amount because it's been a lot. So, we're gonna start with Jaylen Waddle. As we were told for the last couple weeks, Jaylen Waddle not available, right? Him, Devon A. Chan, not on the market, not available. Then Baltimore happened. Then Chris Greer got let go. And all of a sudden, Jaylen Waddle is available? Kinda. Basically, the trade package for him is a first round pick plus compensation. Compensation is not laid out exactly. It could be a first round pick plus another pick. It could be a first round pick and a player. It could be a first round pick and some kind of salary situation. I will say this, I don't see any team jumping at this offer. First of all, there's so many good wide receivers in college that if you're a late first round, early second round pick, you're getting paid between 2 to 4 million a year. It's not a ton of money. Jaylen Waddle is owed 40 million over the next 2 years. So if you think we need a wide receiver desperately, there's plenty coming in the draft, and you're most likely going to have a first or second round pick. Go get them. Receivers have translated very well. We see Emeka Ibuka has been great. We see JSN is still on his rookie contract and is arguably the top receiver in the league right now. You can do a lot with a cheap receiver. They usually translate pretty well. So, what team would give up a first round pick plus other stuff to get a 26-year-old receiver that's get paid a lot of money? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now, maybe someone is like, hey, we got plenty of cap and we just like Jaylen. We don't want to take a chance on a 21-year-old. We don't know what they got. We know Jaylen's good. No off the field issues. He needs some speed. Sure, maybe. And maybe the Dolphins have put the asking price here, hoping someone comes here and they're like, okay, cool, we'll take it. Maybe someone's like, hey, we'll give you two twos. And Miami's like, okay, fine. Like, that might be enough. But as of now, still a couple days from the trade deadline. Trade deadline is Tuesday. They're asking for the moon. And maybe we'll land on the cloud. But it seems like this is a very tall offer. I do not expect anybody to to pay this. If they do, I'll be absolutely shocked because I feel like that's a way too much money. That would be too much. That would be what we kind of pay for Tyreek, which, at the time, Tyreek was the number one receiver in the league, the fastest guy we've seen on the field in a long time. Jaylen Waddle is a really good receiver. He's not Tyreek Hill, so I don't think he should be compensated as such. More trade talk. Jalen Phillips has gotten a lot of interest around the league, specifically from the Eagles, who apparently want Myles Garrett too. I don't know what those guys are doing over there. Howie Roseman, where's the money? That I'll just say that. The 49ers, we've talked about them at nauseum because Nick Bosa's out, and we already have a relationship with them because Coach McDaniel came from San Francisco, obviously. And the Patriots also want Jalen Phillips. Let me say this. Jalen Phillips is not going to the Patriots because they are in our division. They are currently better than us, and their quarterback is on a cheaper contract. There's no reason to make them a better team. They already have a very bright future. Right? They still have, I believe, 2 more years of Drake May at pretty much cheap money before he has to get paid his real salary. So they can really just kind of go crazy for the next couple of years while we give them more pieces to win now. That they already beat Buffalo this year. In Buffalo. No. Jalen Phillips he's not going to the Patriots. Now, I do not believe these are the only 3 teams that want Jalen Phillips. I think these are 3 teams that kind of put it out there. I think there are a lot of teams who need edge rushing. And as we get closer to the deadline, they may be trying to make deals with other players that might fall through. And when those fall through, it's like, okay, now let's double back to Miami. So I think people are going to try to come after the Giants. The Giants have 4 first-round picks on their D-line. Like, hey, is Kayvon Thibodeau available? I don't think Brian Burns is available because I think Brian Burns might be the second or third best DN in the whole league. But maybe he is because he was obviously traded from Carolina to the Giants. So he was available at some point. He's obviously godding right now. He's going to be first-team All-Pro. There's a lot of good players out there. Jalen Phillips is one of them. These teams have interest in him. I hope we can get at the very least a 4th-round pick for him. A 3rd would be fantastic. But it's seeming like it might be a 5th plus some other, 5th and a 7th kind of talk. We'll see. I'm hoping someone is desperate enough to jump up to a fourth and really get desperate and jump up to a third. But that's probably asking a lot. He's in a last year of a deal. They know if they sign him, they have to give him basically an extension. Unless they're doing a rental thing where they'll rent him for 7 games and say, we'll see. But a lot of interest. I fully expect Jalen Phillips to be traded. Fully expect. I think Matthew Judon will be too. I don't know about Bradley Chubb, and I would be shocked if Chop is traded. He's still cheap, but I think there's a real possibility that 2 are gone. Outside chance 3 are traded. I think Chop is a lone survivor, unless we bring someone else in. So we'll see kind of how that happens more toward the deadline. But people like Bradley Chubb too. It's just Bradley Chubb is older, so Bradley Chubb is older and his contract extends longer. So they know if we get him, we got to pay the money unless Miami pays some of it, which could be a thing too. We'll see. When you're trying to like clear the books and get assets, you can start making some deals. Like, hey, I don't want to pay his full $12 million. Okay, we'll pay 4 of it. Oh, okay, cool. That kind of stuff happens. But Jalen's younger. I think Jalen's upside is more than Bradley. He's not playing as well right now, but he's gotten better the last few weeks. You can see him rounding into form. So I think the more he rounds into form, the more valuable he becomes. And we hope that somebody's willing to, part with something nice for him. There's a lot of sourcing going on right now around Tua being benched this year. I've seen Jay Glazer and Ian Rappaport talk about it. And if you know anything about football, you know those two guys are connected. And when they report something, it's not like one source. They got people. And the people are saying this Tua thing is getting a little dicey. Now, the biggest impediment to any benching of Tua is that if you bench him, you still have to pay him. Like, the money doesn't just fly off the books because he's not playing. He still gets paid. So do you want to pay your backup quarterback now $99 million over the next 2 years? It's a tough one. It's a tough pill to swallow. Now, we've seen this in recent memory. The Broncos had an $85 million cap hit when they let Russell Wilson go, and people said, how could you do that? This is going to destroy your team. All they did was draft Bo Nix, make the playoffs, and right now they're 7-2, leading their division. So they'll probably get in the playoffs again, barring something crazy happening. What they do, they developed the guys on their team. They gave extensions to people they thought were great, i.e. Nick Bonito and Wolf and those guys. Hey, we'll pay you guys now. Pat Surtain, best corner in the league. They gave those guys money who were good. They drafted very well, and they just coached them up. I mean, Vance Joseph has done a great job on the defense. Yes, they don't have as much cap money as most teams do. They just worked around it. Now, Tua's owed a little bit more than Russell Wilson was, and we have not been great with our drafts, but our drafts were led by Chris Greer, who's no longer with the organization. So maybe with a better GM, we can do better in the draft. I think we will have to start over at quarterback. I was not a Bo Nix guy in college. I thought Bo was an older quarterback. I thought he was limited. And apparently with a good coach, less limited, because Bo Nix has been balling. I mean, playoffs last year, probably playoffs again now. I don't know who the Bo Nix in this draft is. That's a real question. This is these quarterbacks have not lived up to billing up to now. Arch is getting better. Mendoza's probably the best one. In terms of consistency. But if they bench Tua and then don't trade him, let's say he's just benched for the rest of this year, and I don't think it will start now. We play Buffalo this week, then we go to Spain and play the Commanders. I don't think either of those games is a reasonable time to bench Tua. One, because Buffalo is Buffalo, and we just watched them beat the Chiefs. The Commanders game is a NFL like thing, right? No, we've never had a game in Barcelona, so we're going to be the first. Oh, Madrid. Wait, is it Barcelona? I don't know. It's in Barcelona. It's in Barcelona. We never had a game there before, so I would highly doubt that Goodell would say, "Hey, Miami, we're going to send you over there," because it looks like now Jayden Daniels probably won't play in that game. I think he broke his elbow or tore some ligament today. They put him in the air cast, so it doesn't look good. I'll be shocked if he's ready to play in 2 weeks. So if Jayden Daniels is already out, and we got Marcus Mariota, which is not what the league wants, and then you say, hey, you know who Marcus Mariota is going to be playing? You guessed it, Zach Wilson. Pretty sure the league would be like, hey, you better put Tua on that billing because we at least know who Tua is. And we can maybe market Tua to some degree, but I don't think either of those two games Tua would get benched. But In the event those ends up being losses, I think the following games might be the start of Tua not being a quarterback. And if that is the case, I would be curious if Tua asked to be traded. I know Kirk Cousins have been, whispering behind the scenes and very publicly like he wants to play. I don't think Kirk Cousins can play anymore, so we'll see. Uh, it might be smarter to just get off Tua and just bite the bullet. If you do, I think after June 1st, we can split the amount of money over 2 years. So it won't be like all 1 year being killed with the cap, but over 2 years and just starting from scratch. Because if you're going to bench him and pay him all that money, it's not going to be good in the locker room. Is he going to be like the consummate teammate knowing he just got benched for, a Zach Wilson or a rookie? I don't think it, I don't know. I don't think it bodes well. I think it's better to get him out of the building and just just start over, because otherwise it's going to be a daily news story. Let's say we put Quinn Ewers in and Quinn plays 2 or 3 bad games in a row. Should they go back to Tua? We don't need that. We don't need it. If Tua's benched, he's no longer the quarterback. There's no chance for redemption. It's over. So if they go that route, that is pulling the ripcord. That's saying, hey, we made a mistake franchise-wise. We gave you too much money. You're not our guy. And June 1st, you're not going to be on this team anymore. That's what that's saying. You can't say, hey, Tua, we're benching you 3 games later. We were wrong. Quinn Ewers isn't good. You get in there. I don't think that's how that works. So we'll see what happens. And there was more sourcing today, and I did a story about this a couple weeks ago, that Stephen Ross is super fond of Coach McDaniel. And I think that's pretty obvious up to this point. But I've said, without sourcing, just from what I see, that I think he views Coach McDaniel the same way Sean McVay's viewed, the same way Kevin O'Connell's viewed, which means I can't let this guy go. This is a diamond in the rough, once-in-a-generation type coach. That being the case, the sourcing now is saying the Dolphins want to keep Coach McDaniel past this year, meaning when the new GM comes in, he's going to inherit Coach McDaniel, and they have to kind of coexist. This is odd because typically when a GM is hired, they pick their coach, they pick the people they work with, because the GM and the coach have to be on the same page. What's our vision as a team? How are we going to build this? Let's make sure we get the right players for what our vision is. So like Mike Vrabel, let's give an example of the Patriots. Mike Vrabel's an old school guy. Run the ball, be good in the trenches, play tough defense. What was their first draft pick? Offensive lineman. But if you went to a guy who was more flashy, say Coach McDaniel type guy, your first pick might be a wide receiver. Like, yo, let's go get the top receiver because I need to get a top receiver for my young quarterback. That's why the GM and the coach need to be on the same page. I also don't know if a new GM wants to come in and inherit Coach McDaniel. They may not think he's that great of a coach. Or he may not be the coach for what their vision for the team is. But if the owner is saying he's going to stay, I think that limits what GMs would even take the job. I imagine GM comes in like, I run the show, basically. Outside of the ownership, I run the show. And if you're telling me I have to keep somebody on staff, that means I don't run the show. That means that I got one hand behind my back. What can I do with that? I can't work like that. And I think that maybe the top-end GMs who could possibly turn the team around, who may have a better vision going forward, who may be really good at the draft, will be like, well, that seems dysfunctional to hire me and then tell me I can't rearrange the staff up under me, because what are we doing? Because even if they keep Coach McDaniel, maybe they want to get rid of Coach Weaver, but Coach McDaniel was like, I need Coach Weaver. And now it's like, so I can't pick my coordinators either. Like, it just gets to a weird pocket where the owner is kind of choosing favorites, which we should all be on the same page. It shouldn't be, that's my guy, and then you're also working for me. I don't think that works. This feels like a situation where our interim GM might just end up keeping the job because, he's hand chosen by the owner. He obviously knows the situation, happy to have the job, but probably won't upset, the cart. If you tell me, hey, you've been interim, because they're not going to make the decisions by Tuesday. Every trade decision happening Tuesday is going straight to Stephen Ross. So the interim GM won't be like, hey, I traded 3 players and made good. That's not their job yet. They don't know enough about the team, which means we don't have anything to gauge them on for the next 7 games. Like, what? Who are you? So if they keep the job, it's only because the ownership said you have the job. It's not you've proven yourself to be a good GM. You've done nothing. But if you are like, hey, I like Coach McDaniel too. I think give me one draft and we can build around it. Stephen Ross might be like, oh, I like that. See, I'm thinking the same way. I like that coach. You like him too? Let's keep going. I'm very curious how this turns out because there may be a GM that we really, really like. And if they don't like Coach McDaniel, I really wonder how Stephen Ross is going to go there. Because if you can possibly poach a GM that you think is like the one, like a Howie Roseman type guy who I know how to come in, I know how to wheel and deal, I can manipulate that cap, but I can't do it with that coach. I'm very curious to see how this turns out. This won't be a thing until the offseason, so we don't have to worry about that part happening now. Keep your eyes open, though, because I very much believe Coach McDaniel is going to survive this year. And I think as long as we don't just lose every other game for us of the season, I very much think he's going to be there next year as well. And I don't know how that's going to work out. But I'm here to see it. But as always, y'all, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and the subscribes. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily.